January 24th. Hello, it's me again. Years ago, the book Who Am I, and if yes, how many came out. I remember the title mostly because it sounds so weird, but the question is rather spot on. Our brains are composed of two hemispheres that have different specialities. For example, language is processed in both halves, but only the left one produces speech. The two parts are connected by one bridge-like structure called corpus callosum. Separating this connection is in a type of epilepsy the treatment of last resort. After the separation, each hemisphere has its own separate perception, concepts, and impulses to act. Imagine a body with two brains. More often than not, one side takes the lead and you wouldn't notice the difference in an interaction with such a person, though these people, as you can imagine, have been subject of tons of research. That's how we know, for example, extreme cases like that of a person whose one hemisphere was an atheist while the other was a religious person. The most important question asked, in my opinion, in this research was, did the personas of the different hemispheres feel a difference from the time before and after the separation? The left side is known to be a bit of a bluffer, a fabulist who can't be really trusted, but both sides replied to the negative. We are both. And a third agent that emerged through the tight connection of the two others. The two lower agents aren't aware of a merging agent, emerging from their cooperation, nor does the merging agent realize that there is a lower level beneath it. Not to make it unnecessarily complicated here, but the truth is we are most likely a whole wicker-work of agents and emerging agents. We are many. All this because today I want to make a case for real listening to each other, but first and foremost to us, to our agents. Face it, we live in a golden age of terrible listening. There's always a distraction, some temptation that makes it harder for us to pay attention. And not just that, we are inundated with a message that talking, scoring points, and making oneself heard are more important than listening. We constantly have to sell ourselves. That's against our nature. Evolution has made us to gather information and use it to create information in a game of back and forth. This can't happen if we are not listening and no one is listening to us, not even we. Now, you might say reading isn't a skill our brain is prepared for by nature, but hearing is. Hearing, after all, is one of our five senses. But hearing isn't listening. Listening, like reading, is a skill we learn by practicing. Meaning we rewire our brains to connect different circuits that are not naturally connected. Use neurons originally meant for different matters. To uphold these circuits, energy is needed. So once we don't practice listening, the energy is saved, the circuits disassembled, and the skill degrades. Good listening is mostly focus and asking the right questions. There's so much more to pick up on than just words in a conversation, even with ourselves. A problem we all face is closeness, communication bias. We think that we listen to no one more closely than the people we are closest to and who we love, and who are we more closer to than ourselves. But the opposite is true because there's this unconscious tendency to think we already know what we think and what we would say to us. So we shut down and don't engage. The problem is we only assume. And assumptions are like earplugs or blinders that make it impossible for us to recognize that we all change a little bit every day. And as a result, over time, we are no better than strangers to ourselves. Here's the thing though. The better we listen, the more our brainwaves get in sync. And that's not just true for the moment. It also influences how we process subsequent information. The more we listen, the more we will be of one mind. The place to start is curiosity. Everyone is fascinating, even we to ourselves. Use the moment of meaning, prompts, and every day go in with a question. What can I learn about me today? Boring? Not at all. There's research showing that we make a person more interesting to us by listening to them more attentively. And the same thing, at the same time the person listened to attentively speaks in greater detail, more logically, and with greater enthusiasm. So don't be so fast to judge or correct by echoing suggestions, but let yourself and any other conversation partner for that matter expand on what they really mean and feel. Make space, give permission. If you don't, you limit who you can be. You disempower yourself. So listen. Start by listening to yourself. Make a habit out of thinking.